everybody, I'm Kohai.
And I'm Senpai.
And together we're Kohai's collection. First off, we're nearing 900 subscribers, which we're very excited about. Also upcoming is our 1-year anniversary of uploading videos on February 1st.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy. We were hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers, but we didn't quite make it. But I'd say that's pretty good for having, what, a 6-month hiatus where we didn't upload anything, because I had a big PC project going that took us out of the country, and it took us like 2 months to film the collection video. But we are going against the grain and doing things that aren't currently popular. So I'm pretty proud of what we're doing, and 1,000 subscribers is going to be amazing when we get there.
Speaking of videos taking a long time, we are very close to finalizing our new video format called Anime Figure Archive. These videos should take a lot less time to produce, so we can make more of them, and there's still a format that's not really out there.
Yeah, our reviews still, to this moment in time, take about 20 hours to produce. That's filming the review itself, filming the B-roll, which eventually becomes the Senpai showroom video, that's doing the photo shoot that turns into our thumbnails. So 20 hours is a ton of time on top of having full-time jobs. So we're hoping that this format will maybe be down to about a 3-hour production for what will hopefully be about a 5-minute long format. When developing this format, we realized something. We need a dedicated PC for this studio in order to do it. Thankfully, through my little side hustle I mentioned in the collection video, I actually have almost all the parts for that already. And so inadvertently, Gigabyte, EK Water Blocks, and Team Group will be sponsoring that computer. And then I'm hoping to have another sponsor on board. And if so, they'll be sending something very cool, which will become a central aspect to this studio. Once I know more about that, I'll know when we could actually start producing the Anime Figure Archive videos, because that can't happen until we have a computer here. I'm hoping that maybe in March we can start producing the first episode, but my guess is realistically it might be closer to April. So once I hear back from the sponsors, we'll know more about that, and I hope to do a vlog for you all just to kind of have that content and post some of the interesting things that we do when we develop things for this studio.
Yeah, but we're still going to be doing the regular review videos as well. We just hope to kind of supplement the content with these, and plus they'll be a little different. They'll be a little sillier, and I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, in a dream world, each month we'd have 1 review, we'd have 2 Senpai showrooms. We get 1 of those from the review, and we'd be able to release an Anime Figure Archive once per week. The Anime Figure Archive, I think, is very realistic to do once per week, which is fantastic. So if for some reason we can't produce a review because we're busy that month, we can just supplement it with more Anime Figure Archives. So we're very excited to add that to our channel.
Now to the actual point of this video. We have to make another adjustment to our scores again. It's unfortunate that we have to make another adjustment so early in the game, but as we stated in our last video, it's very important that we iron out all the kinks in the beginning before we have too much of a backlog to change. And we came up with a new system that we don't really see anybody doing. Not every system is perfect from the get-go, no matter how much planning you do. So, you know, we gotta fix some things.
Yeah, we noticed this issue after rating Chizuru. We gave her a 10 out of 10 for pose, which we do feel is accurate. It's very cute, animated, and she has a lot of dynamic movement. But the problem is, there's another figure we gave a 10 out of 10, which has a super lame, very static pose. And that figure is Laffy.
That's right. Laffy's getting f***ed again. We actually had to watch the video back to figure out why we gave her a 10 out of 10, but our intentions were good. We said something that was true, which is that her pose is constrained by the artwork. But just because her pose is constrained by the artwork doesn't mean that 1, that artwork necessarily translates into an exciting figure, and 2, you can still follow the artwork but make subtle changes that make it more natural or look more alive.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're converting 2D to 3D, and that transition isn't always very seamless. You have to take certain liberties to make things look a little more accurate. I mean, for example, she's sitting there with her arms literally stiff like this, holding a fan out and above. And yes, that matches the artwork, but it's also a sculpture at the end of the day, so there's nothing to say that they couldn't have just relax the arms a little bit to make it look more natural and believable in the 3D version that wouldn't have taken away from the artwork. And at the end of the day, we have to rate these figures as a figure and in comparison to some of the other figures that we have.
We went back and looked at our entire collection and compared it to the figures that we did reviews on to see what we actually thought a 10 out of 10 pose would look like. And we agreed that Albedo, Rim, and Chizuru still deserve the 10 out of 10 pose since they are way more dynamic and engaging compared to your average figure. We also decided that there are 2 more figures from our reviews that need to be adjusted.
And that's going to be Prince Eugen and Sakimare Lip.
When looking at Prince Eugen, we gave her a 10 out of 10 for the exact same reason as Laffy, which is that her pose is constrained by the artwork. While Prince Eugen's pose is more dynamic than your average figure, her hair is floating, some of the pieces of her clothing is floating, she's got her finger pointing in her mouth, makes her very cheeky, very cute. Ultimately, there are other figures in our collection that are floating, but are more dynamic. Think Albedo and Rim.
Yeah, and for Sakimare Lip, we just simply scored her too high. When we compared her to our other 18+ figures, her pose is actually really generic. Ultimately, she's sitting on a chair and just spreading her legs. Now, they tried to add more movement to that by kind of shifting her legs and bringing up her arm and kind of pointing inward, but it's executed so poorly, it kind of eliminates that and goes back to being very static and generic. And ultimately speaking, it's just average.
So with that, let's look at our adjustments, reasonings, and our new scores. First, taking a look at Laffy. Laffy's pose is incredibly rigid. She's just sitting there and her arms are very stiff. They almost look like they're locked into place. And even for an average sitting figure, her stiffness makes it so unnatural that I would say it brings it below average. So instead of a 10 out of 10, we're bringing her to a 4 out of 10. And this reduces her final score from a 67 to a 61. Second, we have Prince Eugen, which is a beautiful figure. Floating is still way more unique and dynamic than your average figure pose. It's just simply not a 10 out of 10 like Rim, Albedo, and Chizuru. So in comparison to these more dynamic figures, she's going to get an 8 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10, which brings her score from an 83 to an 81.
And lastly, we have Sakimare Lip. She's giving us a very average look with her legs just being spread. They tried to give her more movement and make it more dynamic by having her legs at a different angle and having her arm up, but ultimately it looks very stiff and wasn't executed very well, so it gives it a very average look. So we're going to reduce her score from an 8 out of 10 to a 5 out of 10. This brings her score from a 43 to a 40. So regarding our leaderboard, this doesn't actually change the positions of any of our figures. In general, it just kind of increases the spread. The most interesting development are how close Prince Eugen and Albedo are, Prince Eugen having 81 points and Albedo having 80, which I do think feels even more accurate, so I'm very pleased with the changes overall. The figures are more or less the same price, with Prince Eugen being 41,000 yen and Albedo being 46,000 yen, and when they're beside each other, they do have a similar presence, albeit Albedo with a little bit more, but it's really hard to forgive Albedo's mismatched wings in comparison to something like Prince Eugen's base, when she's still the focus point of the figure itself, and the paint and modeling are just way too damn good. So I am pleased with the changes, and I do feel like it just increases the accuracy of our review system as a whole.
So that's going to wrap up all of our new scores for pose. Again, we're sorry for having to make 2 adjustments so early in the game, but the more that we...
Other than that, we'll be filming our next review tomorrow, and I hope to release that to you very soon. I'm trying to get these videos out ASAP due to a change in our schedule, thanks to some very super exciting news that we're going to be sharing with you in its own dedicated video.
As always, your support means everything to us. We're building something that we're very proud of, and we're glad that you're all enjoying it with us. We love every comment that you send, and we really enjoy talking to you guys. Well, with that, I'm Kohai.
And I'm Senpai.
Until next time, bye!